Hi everyone and welcome to the last reading assembly of 2020. So let's move straight on to our Spelling Shed results this week, and what a week it has been on Spelling Shed. In bronze place we have got Dylan from 3NW, well done Dylan. Our silver award this week goes to Toby in 3NW, fantastic work again Toby, brilliant. But our gold award this week goes to Ayan in 4BT. Keep up the golden work, Ayan. That's fantastic to see. Well done, everybody. There has been an increased level of activity on Spelling Shed this week, so we need to keep it up over the Christmas holidays because we have got lots of opportunity to be going on Spelling Shed and learning our spellings. Right, now on to here is the best of the rest. So in fourth place, we've got Shiraz in 5JA. In fifth place, we've got Lucy in 5JA. In sixth place, we have got Dominic in 5JA. In seventh place, we've got Finley from 6RS. And in eighth place, we have got Caden from 5JA. So well done, everybody, in our top 8 this week. Our bronze award this week for our classes goes to 4BT. So well done, 4BT. Our silver award goes to 3NW, and our gold award this week goes to Mr. Armour's class. Now, Mr. Armour's class managed to get on Spelling Shed at the weekend up to 82nd in the world, and there are thousands and thousands and thousands of schools that go on Spelling Shed, so for 5JA to be at 82nd place in the world is just phenomenal. So well done, guys. I've already given you your very special treat for being 82nd in the world. Everybody else, here are the results from last week. So as you can see, 5JA won by an absolute landslide. Then closely followed by 3NW, 4BT in third, 6RS in fourth, 6HR in fifth, 5PA in sixth, 3SZ in seventh, 2ZB in 8th, and 4JD in 9th. Okay, so everybody over the Christmas holidays, massive opportunity for you to get yourselves on Spelling Shed. Our Reading Gold Award this week goes to 5PA, who had 100% of their class read at home 3 times a week or more last week. So well done, Miss Asghari's class. I will be round with treats at some point today. Okay, now looking at the figures this week, we have got, and I'm going to work backwards, we've got 6SP with 93%, 6HR with 92%, and 5JA with 91%. So up at Key Stage 2, absolutely smashing the reading at home, guys. Keep it up, it is so important. 4JD, we've got 85%, 4BT, special mention for you with 92%, that's brilliant. 3MW, 57%. So 3NW, we need a bit more effort from you guys. You were up with 100%. What's happened? 2ZB, 68%. 1/2NW, 77%. 1UR, 55%. And FS2, Miss Quinn's class, 36%. And Mrs. Goody's class, 23%. So Key Stage 1 and EYFS, you really need to start reading at home. We would like you to read 3 times a week or more, please. We really need to see those figures go up in January, and you have got all the Christmas holidays to read as much as you like. Right, now staff reader of the week this week is Mrs. Craven. Now, Mrs. Craven is reading the book called The Reading Group. And Mrs. Craven said she's chosen this book to share with you all because she is in a reading group and she loves nothing more than sharing a reading book with her friends, and they all read the book and then they all talk about the book. So they all get given the same book, or they all buy the same book, and then they read the book and then they meet up again. And this can be done online, it can be done on Zoom, or it can be done on FaceTime, and they all talk about the book that they have chosen to read. So thank you, Mrs. Craven. That's absolutely brilliant to see your love for reading there. And everybody else, we could try doing that at school. You could all ask to borrow the same book, and then you could take it home and bring it back to school and then discuss what you have read about. Fantastic idea. Thank you very much, Mrs. Craven, for being part of our Staff Reader of the Week feature. Now this week I thought it would be a really good idea for us to have a Christmas reading book that we share as a school. So we are going to look at The Polar Express, and a very big thank you to all of the staff members who have volunteered to be part of our Polar Express reading team. I hope you enjoy it.
On Christmas Eve, many years ago, I lay quietly in my bed. I did not rustle the sheets. I breathed slowly and silently. I was listening for a sound a friend had told me I'd never hear, the ringing bells of Santa's sleigh. "There's no Santa," my friend had insisted, but I knew he was wrong. Late that night, I did hear sounds, though not of ringing bells. From outside came the sounds of hissing steam and squeaking metal. I looked through my window and saw a train standing perfectly still in front of my house. There's the train. It was wrapped in an apron of steam. Snowflakes fell lightly around it. The conductor stood at the open door of one of the cars. He took a large pocket watch from his vest. Then he looked up at my window. I put on my slippers and robe. I tiptoed downstairs and out the door. "All aboard!" the conductor cried out. I ran up to him. "Well," he said, "are you coming?" "Where?" I asked. "Why, to the North Pole, of course," was his answer. "This is the Polar Express." I took his outstretched hand and he pulled me aboard.
We climbed mountains so high it seemed as if we would scrape the moon. But the Polar Express never slowed down. Faster and faster we ran along, rolling over peaks and through valleys like a car on a roller coaster. The mountains turned into hills, the hills to snow-covered plains. We crossed a barren desert of ice, the great polar ice cap. Lights appeared in the distance. They looked like the lights of a strange ocean liner sailing on a frozen sea. "There," said the conductor, "is the North Pole."
The North Pole. It was a huge city, standing alone at the top of the world, filled with factories where every Christmas toy was made. At first, we saw no elves. "They're gathering at the centre of the city," the conductor told us. "That is where Santa will give the first gift of Christmas." "Who receives the first gift?" we all asked. The conductor answered, "He will choose one of you." "Look!" shouted one of the children. "The elves!" Outside we saw hundreds of elves. As our train drew closer to the centre of the North Pole, we slowed to a crawl. So crowded were the streets with Santa's helpers. When the Polar Express could go no farther, we stopped and the conductor led us outside.
We pressed through the crowd to the edge of a large open circle. In front of us stood Santa's sleigh. The reindeer were excited. They pranced and paced, ringing the silver sleigh bells that hung from their harnesses. It was a magical sound, like nothing I'd ever heard. Across the circle, the elves moved apart and Santa Claus appeared. The elves cheered wildly. He marched over to us and, pointing to me, said, "Let's have this fellow here." He jumped into his sleigh. The conductor handed me up. I flew on Santa's knee and he asked, "Now, what would you like for Christmas?" I knew that I could have any gift I could imagine, but the thing I wanted most for Christmas was not inside Santa's giant bag. What I wanted more than anything was one silver bell from Santa's sleigh. When I asked, Santa smiled. Then he gave me a hug and told an elf to cut a bell from a reindeer's harness. The elf tossed it up to Santa. He stood, holding the bell high above him, and called out, "The first gift of Christmas."
The clock struck midnight as the elves roared their approval. Santa handed the bell to me and I put it in my bathrobe pocket. The conductor helped me down from the sleigh. Santa shouted out the reindeers' names and cracked his whip. His team charged forward and climbed into the air. Santa circled once above us and then disappeared in the cold, dark polar sky. As soon as we were back inside the Polar Express, the other children asked to see the bell. I reached into my pocket, but the only thing I felt was a hole. I had lost the silver bell from Santa Claus's sleigh. "Let's hurry outside and look for it," one of the children said. But the train gave a sudden lurch and started moving. We were on our way home.
It broke my heart to lose the bell when the train reached my house. I sadly left the other children. I stood at my doorway and waved goodbye. The conductor said something from the moving train, but I couldn't hear him. "What?" I yelled out. He cupped his hand around his mouth. "Merry Christmas!" he shouted. The Polar Express let out a loud blast from its whistle and sped away. On Christmas morning, my little sister Sarah and I opened our presents. When it looked as if everything had been unwrapped, Sarah found one last small box behind the tree. It had my name on it. Inside was the silver bell. There was a note. "Found this on the seat of my sleigh. Fix that hole in your pocket. Signed, Mr. C." I shook the bell. It made the most beautiful sound my sister and I had ever heard. But my mother said, "Oh, that's too bad." "Yes," said my father, "it's broken." But when I'd shaken the bell, my parents had not heard a sound.
At one time, most of my friends could hear the bell, but as years passed, it fell silent for all of them. Even Sarah found one Christmas that she could no longer hear its sweet sound. Though I've grown old, the bell still rings for me, as it does for all who truly believe. Happy Christmas, everybody.